I quickly record myself doing the answer key to your geometry quiz on 9-1 to 9-3. So for this quiz, you had to come in knowing the Pythagorean theorem. So in this case, I have the hypotenuse. And anytime I give you the hypotenuse, we're going to have to type that into our calculator first squared and then minus a leg squared. So that's what x squared is going to equal. So I'm just going to quickly ask my calculator. 13 squared minus 5 squared, we're going to get 144, which I'm hoping you realize, hey, that's a perfect square. So when you take the square root, it's just a nice 12. And so that is a Pythagorean triple. Okay, it's a 5, 12, 13 right triangle. Okay, the next one, this time I give you both legs. So I'm going to have to take 4 squared plus 7 squared. That's going to equal really c squared, but that's what x is. 4 squared plus 7 squared is going to be 65. And when you take the square root of 65, it's an ugly decimal, and there's no perfect squares that fit in. Okay, 65. You can divide by 5, which isn't a perfect square, but you're going to just realize the only factors are 13 and 5. Neither one is a perfect square. So just leave it as a radical and answer no. Okay? And then this third one, once again, I give you the hypotenuse. So we're going to set it up this way, where we're going to have to type in 12 squared minus 10 squared. You're going to see that's 44. The square root of 44 is an ugly decimal, so the answer is no. It's not a nice Pythagorean triple, but I'm hoping you realize 44, though, does have a 4 that fits in. Okay, so if you break up 44 as square root of 4 times the square root of 11, 4 times 11 is still 44, you can simplify it to 2 root 11. Okay, so I want the answers in simplest radical form. Okay, for number 4, we have 3 similar triangles. Whenever you have a right triangle, you create an altitude. You have the small, so we have this, we have the medium, and we have the big. So I have the big as RST. So let's do the small first. So we'll do this one first. Okay, this is my small. You have to realize R is the 90-degree angle of the big triangle. So my small triangle, it matches up with W. Okay. So then the small and the large, we share S. Okay. So we need S. And then the letter that remains is an R. Okay. So you want that order. W, S, R is similar to R, S, T. Okay, all the angles match up. For the medium size, my right is W again, so I'm going to have to put a W first. We share the T. Okay, so T goes with T, and then that leaves R. Okay, S and R, this R right here would be the same measurement. Okay, so that's how you have to line everything up. You had a couple big idea questions on that. Okay, but all the corresponding angles have to be congruent. Okay, so here I'm asking you for the geometric mean of 2 numbers. All you have to do is multiply the 2 numbers together and take the square root. Okay, so 10 times 20 is 200. And then I want you to try, and I try to use a nice number for you. If you look on my sideboard, you'll see 100. Okay, I need you to know 100 times 2 is 200. 100 is a perfect square. It becomes a 10. So the best answer is 10 root 2. Okay, so that's our first page. The next page, all I'm asking you to do is classify. Okay, these are all triangles. Okay, so I took away that question. These all can be made into a triangle. So the question is it right, acute, or an obtuse triangle? So what you have to do is add your 2 shorter pieces together, okay, the square, and compare that to c squared. Okay, so for this first problem, I have 6 squared plus 7 squared. That's going to equal 85. And then 9 squared is going to be 81. So what you're going to see is this is smaller. C squared is smaller, which would create an acute triangle. All the angles would be less than 90. Okay, so now let's do the same thing for number 7. 11 squared plus 13 squared. We'll see what it is compared to 23 squared. Okay, so 11 squared plus 13 squared, that total is 290. And then when I take 23 squared, I get a much bigger number. So this time c squared is larger, which would make it obtuse. If they were equal, then of course it's a right triangle. Okay. Here, I just want to know the length of the ladder. So I'm telling you, use the Pythagorean theorem. We know the ladder goes up this wall vertically 15. So I'm going to take 15 squared. The base of the ladder is 8 feet away. What we really want to know is this ladder. That's the hypotenuse. That's the biggest side. And now we can use a decimal. Okay, so it says round to the nearest tenth of a foot. So 15 squared plus 8 squared is going to be a 289. And I ask for this square root of 289. And notice it is a nice number. Okay, so it is a perfect square. If it wasn't a perfect square, I would have to round it. But that is a Pythagorean triple. Okay, 8, 15, 17, all nice numbers. Okay, so then the rest of this should go very quickly. Okay, so we have special right triangles. So I have a 45, 45. So that just tells me both sides, okay, both legs have to be the same. So y has to be a 5. So then x, my hypotenuse, I have to take 5 times root 2 and just leave it like that. I don't want a decimal. I just want it in simplest form. Okay, so then for number 10, we're dealing with a 30/60. I'm telling you the hypotenuse. So if I tell you the hypotenuse, I take half of it to know what the short leg is. Okay, and if I know the short leg, all I have to do is multiply the short times root 3 to be able to get the longer leg. Super easy. For number 11, I tell you the short. Okay, so to find a, I just double this. So double the 4, you get 8 root 2. Okay, and then what you have to do to find b, just like we did before, I take the number, okay, whatever the short is, times root 3. So this will clean up. 4 stays a 4. Root 2, root 3 is root 6, and you're finished. You can't do anything with root 6. It's just simply root 6. Okay? So now, once again, for number 12, I'm telling you the hypotenuse. I take half of 10. So half of 10 is going to be a 5 root 2. So that's your A. And just like before, I multiply by root 3. I try to give you some nice numbers. Okay, this is not designed to be difficult. So 5 root 2 root 3 is 5 root 6. Okay. This last problem, we have a 45, 45. So all we have to do is divide. Okay. And the fact that I have a root 2 up top, they just cancel out. That means both legs have to be 5. Okay. So not much work to do. We just have to recognize the special cases. Okay. And finally, the last page, and we're only 7 minutes into this. So number 14, this is the case where I want to know the altitude. So I square the altitude and I multiply these two bases. Okay. So 4 times 5 is 20. I take the square root of 20, which I would want you to simplify as 2 root 5. Okay, that's the best answer in simplest radical form. Here we have a side, so we take the side squared. Now, here we don't know this piece directly, but it's 18 minus 6, which is going to be a 12. Okay, so 12 and the 6 gives you the total base of 18. So the rule is take this side, square it. That's going to equal the 12 times the overall length, and you're just going to clean this up. 12 times 18 is going to be a 216. Okay, and then, like I said, I would want you to try. Okay, try to find a perfect square that fits into this. So I'm going to try 64. 64 doesn't. I'm going to try, let's try a 36. And it fits 6 times. So I can break up 216 as 36 times 6, which is 6 root 6. Okay, so you did that in big ideas. 2 more. So here, once again, I'm telling you this side of my triangle. Okay, I square that. It's going to equal this part of the smaller triangle. Its base is 8 times the overall length of the big base, which is x. So it's 100 equals 8x. Divide by 8. And when you divide by 8, you're going to get exactly 12.5. Okay, so 12.5 is the answer. Okay, last question. Here I give you the altitude, so you square the altitude. We multiply these two things together. This one's super easy. 36 equals 2x. When I divide 36 by 2, I get 18. X has to be 18. Okay, so that did not take long. Okay, took a couple minutes to go through all 17 questions. I am hoping this makes sense. We will have a test. So you'll get this quiz back, and then we'll have a chapter 9 test to end the year. Okay, so thanks for watching. Hopefully you did well on this quiz. If you didn't, you learned from your mistakes. Take care.